Welcome to Empowered to Grow, the podcast. I am your host, Hanan Basha, the business doctor. Following our conversations with empowered women who woke up one day and consciously claimed, I am more than enough, I am worthy, I am empowered to grow. And along their empowering journey towards realizing their own potential and their quest for growth, they became a beacon of hope and guidance for others. May you also find your inner power to grow. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Empowered to Grow. This is your host, Hanan Basha. Today, I have all the way from the US, across a few ponds, Michele Molitor. Michele, nice to meet you.
Hi, thanks so much for having me, Hannah. It's great to be here.
It's my pleasure. Michele is founder and CEO of Nectar Consulting. She is a co-author of a best-selling book, and she has a kind of her own thing, her own take, which is a trademark take on how to deal with imposter syndrome and limiting beliefs. We're going to get to address that a lot more in detail in a bit. But Michele, I'd like to start with you from empower to grow, from this phrase. What does that mean to you, and how did it resonate with you when you knew like this was the name of the podcast?
Oh, I love it because we all have our bumps along our path, right? That can make us or break us, right? Mm-hmm. And I learned many years ago, our greatest source of pain is our greatest source of power, passion, and purpose. And so Empowered to Grow speaks to that directly, because it's those pain points, those big potholes in the road that you fall into inadvertently, that do ultimately empower us to get to that next level if we're willing to do the work, right? If we're willing to pause and look and like, okay, what brought that into my life, and what can I learn from it, and how can I grow from it?
I love that. And that's exactly it. That was a life-changing opportunity for me when I stopped, and rather than kind of beat myself up about decisions or things that happened in my life, it was like, okay, what can I extract from that? And more importantly, now I need to move on. How can I take whatever I need to take from it and move on with it, just because we get stuck, as you said, with our bumps. From that perspective, now you're empowered to grow in your own way, and you do empower others. Can you tell us more about your story, please?
Sure. So I have been a professional coach for 20 years now, and a hypnotherapist for the last 5. And I combine those two really powerful modalities together into what I call rapid rewiring. Mm-hmm. And so over a period of time, typically 30, 90 days, even 6 months sometimes, I work with clients combining these two ways of getting at the limiting beliefs, those stuck spots along our path at a deeper subconscious level, so we can identify them, rewire them, and move them out of your way. I always say we have all got junk in our trunk, right? So it's about getting rid of the junk in our trunk, leaving it on the side of the road, and then rewiring your brain with new neural pathways for empowered ways of being in the world. And what brought me here was my own big bump. I used to be a creative director in web development in my former career, and I had just moved to San Francisco at the height of the original .com boom back in 2000. And we were working really hard. I was growing out my creative team. It was a global web development company, and we were supposed to IPO the week I started, but the market crashed instead. That was bump number 1. That was the little bump in the road. The bigger bump in the road was I hired two guys to kind of be my wingmen, and they very quickly made it clear that they didn't like working for a woman. And essentially, I got bullied out of my job, and it was devastating. It crushed my confidence and my sense of self-worth, and who am I, and what do I do now? I literally was such a deer in the headlights. And so I discovered coaching to help me figure out what the heck to do next, because literally the thought of handing my resume to someone was terrifying to me. And I had a massive case of imposter syndrome. And in the process of being coached, it was like all the cells in my body went right into alignment, and my spirit was like, oh, look over here, not that, look over here. So I quickly went on to get trained and certified as a coach, and I started my company in 2001, Nectar Consulting, and I've been doing it ever since. And all along that path, I've been such a seeker of how do we get out of our own way? Why do some people have lots of confidence and other people don't have any confidence? And how do you rebuild it when it's been shattered, like it was in my case? And all of that led me to this really interesting form of hypnotherapy called RTT, or rapid transformational therapy. And in doing RTT for myself, because we all got stuff, right? And I was like, let me take off another layer and another layer. It was that same experience again of my spirit going, this is your next level of mastery. So I quickly added that to my tools and my toolbox, and saw how powerful they were together. So over the last 5 years, I've been sharing my rapid rewiring with folks all over the world and helping them not only eliminating the stuck spots, but taking off the blinders that are preventing them from really showing up fully in their lives and stepping into their natural gifts, talents, and abilities, but also eliminating some of the physical symptoms that come with anxiety, that come with depression, that come with worry and fear and self-doubt. So it's been an amazing journey, and I just am so blessed to do the work that I do every day.
I love that. And I resonate a lot with what you said. And I think there is this point, possibly, obviously, a few points in our life. I would think of them as pivotal moments where how you process through it and what you do next could be a complete new path for you. And I know I had that experience about 4 years ago with my first coaching session. Before, for me, it was a fitness coach, it was those, but never a life coach, never kind of go through the experience. And through that first coaching session, it was like eye-opening for me that I realized I had imposter syndrome. I called it afterwards the not good enough pandemic before the pandemic, because it was just like, the more I spoke about it, the more I could see everyone else saying, yeah, I'm going through that too, or that's what it is. And it's those moments that, as you said, kind of, they lift the blinders and you're like, okay, now what? What do I do about it? And how do I deal with it? And I love that you've combined the coaching part with the hypnotherapy, because obviously we know it's about our subconscious, and we know hypnotherapy can really get down there and do the work as well with us.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing is, after coaching for so many years, I had gotten a little bored, right? Because I like a good challenge, and coaching is really powerful. Talk therapy is really powerful. They all have their place. But when I saw how easily and quickly I could access the subconscious, where 90% of your brain power is, and all those limiting beliefs that you stuffed away in the dark corners when you were a kid are all tucked away there, and saw how easily it was to get them to bubble up to the surface and move them out of the way, I was like, wow, oh my, because it literally created change for me in my life in a matter of weeks. Things that I had been trying to get at for 20 something years moved right out of the way. I was like, oh, okay, you've got my attention. And so ever since then, I just, I eat this stuff up. I study neuroscience and epigenetics and neurobiology and all of these things of how the brain works, so that I can really understand and take that and then simplify it into a way that other people can grok it without all the scientific lingo.
You're speaking every word that resonates with me, and I'm smiling in every way. I love that. Okay, so from where you stand right now, what advice would you have gone back and imparted on your 19-year-old self?
Oh gosh. That whole I'm not enough conversation was transformative. I didn't realize I had a I'm not enough conversation happening. And I had been coaching for years before I even discovered it. And so letting my younger self know that, you know, I'm smarter than I give myself credit for, and don't let all the limiting beliefs that I had adopted from my family conversations get in my way, right? And learn how to put them down and keep moving.
Yeah. Yes. I agree 100% in the sense of it's what we absorb and what we inherit. I think of it more, the more I was kind of opening up myself to think about all the conversations and all the situations, I found that every person that is in our life, that walks into our life, and every situation that happens kind of creates an imprint. And until we realize that that imprint is there, and the impact of that imprint, we are not kind of aware of how to change the narrative or how to change the situation around for ourselves. So yeah, okay. So now let's travel from a time capsule perspective and into the future.
Way back when,
like,
to
like
here and now, and then some.
Exactly. All the way to your 90-year-old self. What would you like her to thank you for today?
That's a good question. I've never gotten asked that question before. You get bonus points today.
Thank you.
I've been on like hundreds of podcasts, so it's like, oh, that's a good one.
That's the one usually that gets everyone's like, okay. I've always been asked about the younger. Now I want the older self to thank me.
Yeah. I would say for being courageous to keep moving forward, even when you thought that it wasn't working or it wasn't happening, and continuing on that tenacious path, and just finding the right people to support you, to help you grow in whatever shape or form that is, whether that's a coach or a therapist or a friend or a business partner or an army of, consultants or freelancers to help you take your business or your life to a whole new level, but to keep going, because our words matter and our impact matters.
I love that. So if you're on a stage and you're delivering a speech to tens of thousands of women, and the topic is about being empowered to grow, what would be that last message you leave them with?
Rewire your brain, think new thoughts, and your life will follow.
Yep. I think it's 60 or 70,000 thoughts that we have per day. Is it?
It's a lot.
And most of them are disempowering, even if we don't know that they are. And I think, as you said, if we do change the narrative, we changed our thoughts, we change how we talk to ourselves, that is the maximum impact we can create in our lives, right? Because everything else follows.
Well, totally. I mean, you think about it, our bodies are made of 60+% water, right? And the work of Dr. Emoto showed us that our intentions, our words have an impact on water. He did all these experiments, and he would put positive intentions or negative intentions into water, freeze them, and look at them under microscopes. And the positive intentions of love and kindness and joy and compassion created these beautiful crystalline structures. And negativity and hate and anger created distorted crystalline structures. And so if you take that, it gives me chills every time I talk about it. If you take that concept and you think about, gosh, what am I telling myself? Am I telling myself, oh, you're so bad, you're wrong, you're crap, you're this, you're that? If you've got a negative attitude that you're telling yourself, imagine what that's doing to all the water molecules in your body, the water that's running through all 50 trillion of your cells. And how is that impacting your health and your well-being? Versus changing the conversation you're having with yourself to, I can do this. I believe in myself. I am enough. I am worthy. I am lovable. and just giving yourself the love that you feel is lacking in whatever shape or form, and give it to yourself and fill your 50 trillion cells up with love. Imagine what's possible from that place.
I have a piece of paper that I've stuck to my monitor. I believe it was Abraham Hicks that was listening, and I stopped and I scribbled it down, and it said, "I'm willing to release the pattern within me that is creating this experience." And that for me was all about what you said. It's about every time I literally stop myself every time I'm going down that negative trail of thoughts, because I have been down that road and it was subconscious for me. I never thought that it was negative, because I never said it out loud, but it was in my head.
Right.
And most of it was pre-programmed for me. We know that, that's what happened. And it became a life changer. The way I carry myself, the way, I present myself, the kind of relationships I started building. So I totally resonate with everything you said. And I had read as well about the experiment with the plants as well, talking to plants in a positive way or a negative way and seeing the impact on that. So every living organism, every living cell within us and within every other living organism gets impacted by this energy. And I'm a strong believer that energy exists, and obviously it's measurable, and the impact of it is.
Well, we're all energy. Everything is energy. You boil us down, this desk, this computer, this painting, this wall, it's all energy. It's just come together dense enough to form something solid, right? To form matter. And so when you can look at yourself, your thoughts are energy, your feelings are energy, your emotions are energy, and take back your power from it, creating that pattern interrupt, right? Like, oh, right. And just like, nope, thank you for sharing. and then now what do I want to tell myself? So repeat for me what you wrote that's on your monitor, because it's really important. And I think everybody needs to hear it again.
I am willing to release the pattern within me that is creating this experience.
I'm willing to release this pattern in me that is creating this experience. I love that. I love Abraham Hicks.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I believe
lots
that.
of wise words there.
But yeah. I'm like, I had to write it down because I had to have this reminder every time I kind of go down that rabbit hole. Nope. Mm-hmm. This is where the experience stops.
Beautiful. I love that.
Michele, thank you so much. My mind is buzzing, but I know that we still have the uncharted discussion. So I'm like, okay, restrain yourself. We're going to have more to talk about in this part. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your energy, and of course, your knowledge and your expertise. Where can our viewers and listeners find you in virtual space?
Yes. Well, you can always find me at michelemolitor.com, MicheleMolitor.com. I'm always happy to have a complimentary consultation, discovery call with someone who's curious to know how this work might be of service to them. And I have different ways that I work with people, both individually and my new group course that just launched this week called How to Become Unshakable, which is super exciting. It's all about eliminating your self-doubt and imposter syndrome and creating unshakable confidence. And of course, you can find me in LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. So I'm out there all the time.
I love that. And we're going to include all your links in the show notes anyway. So please do connect with Michele. Michele, thank you so much. I know we're going to still have our uncharted discussions. There's a lot more I want to delve deeper into with you. Thank you everyone for being with us tonight. And as Michele was saying, we are made up of energy. We're made up of molecules. How we talk, how we think, how we act impacts us in so many more ways than you would have imagined. Even if our subconscious has been pre-programmed for us, it's never too late to reprogram, to rewire, and to ensure that you lead the life and you create the life for yourself that you've always aspired for. Thank you for joining us. And as always, I wish you love, abundance, and prosperity. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to the Empowered to Grow podcast. For further engagement with a tribe of empowered women, join my Facebook group, Empowered to Grow, or visit my website, www.hananelbasha.com. I'll catch you on the next episode. And until then, know that empowered you empowers others. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all.